Yo, and what is up, gang? Thank you for checking out Sledgehammer TV tonight. Last night in Chicago, for the second time, AEW went all out and went and made history as they crowned their first ever World Heavyweight Champion, and they made the wrong move. And we are here to talk about it right here and right now. My name is Nick Nightmare, and you are tuned into the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show's AEW All Out Review and Reaction Show. Let's do it. Alright, wrestling fans, thank you so much for joining me, and this is it. This is where you, as a sledgehead, are going to show where your loyalties lie, because my loyalty lies to professional wrestling. It's wrestling first. I love all wrestling. I love all wrestling companies. I don't love any one over the other. And I'm going to call you out on your bullshit when I see bullshit. I don't give a shit what three little letters are the prefix to your show. It doesn't matter to me. I don't look through little rosy-colored eyeglasses. I'm not sitting here waiting to tickle Cody Rhodes' balls. I'm not whacking off as all the AEW guys are doing the best they can in the middle of the ring, jizzing all over myself, worse than Vince McMahon does when he's getting a centerfold of Roman Reigns printed out for himself. So there you go. I'm an even player. And AEW made a big mistake by putting the title on Chris Jericho. Now listen, I'm not saying Chris Jericho shouldn't be the champion. Now that might sound confusing, but stick with me and I'll explain to you. Chris Jericho should not be the first ever champion of All Elite Wrestling. Because it's almost as if the company is already given into the fact that they would be nothing without a WWE presence. I know if this was my company and this was my show, the guy from the other company, the company I'm trying to be different from, the company I'm trying to compete with, is not going to be the first person walking out as my champion. One of my guys is going to be champion. And it's important for you guys to note right now that I am no fan of Hangman Page. I am not a guy, he's not my guy. I'm not a big fan of the guy. But I think it was ultimately important that tonight he beat Chris Jericho and became the first ever All Elite Wrestling Champion. Oh, well, Hangman Page isn't ready, man. Yeah, no, he's not fucking ready. Which would have made it even more special. Get ready, guys, because here it comes. All they needed to do was have Chris Jericho lose, give it to Hangman Page, and then when we get to October 2nd on the first ever AEW televised extravaganza on TNT, Chris Jericho, the guy from the other place, holds up the show. He wants a rematch, and he pretty much steals the AEW championship from Hangman Page on the first broadcast on TNT, and now you've done nothing but create a buzz. You've done nothing but create controversy, and then Jericho can go on and use that shit, man. He could tout the fact that I'm from the other place. I'm better than everybody here. You need Chris Jericho. And now he has the championship. But in the history books, the first ever champion of the company was a man that was an original of the company. And you can't give it to Omega, and you can't give it to Cody, and you can't put the Young Bucks on top right from the beginning because they own the goddamn company. So that would be just as bad as Vince McMahon being the champion on the WWE. Doesn't matter how fucking old you are. If you own the company, you shouldn't be walking around as the champion. Right? And why is it okay for AEW to have Chris Jericho as the AEW champion when all of you fucking crybabies out there go, oh, the WWE, they always put the titles on the old guys. They got Bill Goldberg coming back. He's the Universal Champion. That's stupid, man. Bill Goldberg and Chris Jericho are like the same age. Why is it okay? Because he's Chris Jericho and the other guy's Bill Goldberg? What's the fucking difference? They're both 50-year-old men. 50-year-old men who have wrestled for the WCW, who have wrestled for the WWE, wrestled, in Chris Jericho's case, for ECW. These guys have been around for 20 plus years. But it's okay now because it's AEW, right? Because AEW's fucking awesome, and everything Cody Rhodes does is fucking awesome, and everything the Bucks do is fucking awesome, right? Think with your fucking head. How much bigger would it have been if Hangman Page made history last night and beat Chris Jericho, the first ever WWE Undisputed Champion, a man whose legacy goes far beyond what he is as a human being? He will be in the record books, he will be in the history books now and forever. And he was beaten by this guy, Hangman Page. The world's gonna be like, who's Hangman Page? I gotta see this guy, Hangman Page. He just beat fucking Chris Jericho. He's the first ever AEW champion. Awesome. So then when Chris Jericho shows up and causes havoc and takes over the first episode and ends up leaving with the championship by beating Hangman Page due to nefarious means, there's controversy now, coming right off of the gate. And now you build off of that. You don't need to go in to TNT with Chris Jericho on top, and now a WWE guy is sitting on top of the throne of AEW, and all of you morons are like, oh, that was great. That was a great idea. What a great idea. I understand from a business point of view. That's why I'm saying all they needed to do was have a little patience. Make something of it. Right now, they're doing WWE things. WWE things like bringing in legends not only to win world championships, but to do things that do not make sense. Tully Blanchard is the manager of Shawn Spears. Shawn Spears is facing Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes has MJF in his corner. And this was a great match. This was a great match between these two guys. But I do not, for 1 minute, believe that Arn Anderson would come out and help the son of Cody Rhodes against a fellow horseman, his brother, his former tag team partner in Tully Blanchard. How does that make sense? When I heard the crowd pop for Arn, I popped for Arn because I thought he was coming out to do the swerve. Everybody thought he was going to come out and save Cody Rhodes, and I thought he was going to turn around and go all horseman on him. Because why would the guys from the Horsemen be helping the Rhodes kids? Let's think about wrestling history. It doesn't feel right. It feels wrong. Just like it feels wrong for Chris Jericho to be the champion. I understand the move, but it feels wrong. I understand Arn Anderson coming out to even the playing field, but it feels wrong. It feels wrong. I don't believe for 1 minute that Arn Anderson would make that, the enforcer, Arn Anderson would make that decision. And it's really, really just did not make sense to me, and I did not enjoy it as much as everybody else did. The man for his age executed an absolutely beautiful spine buster on Shawn Spears, leading to his defeat by Cody Rhodes after a fantastic match that didn't need all that extra. I don't understand it. This WWE booking all over themselves. 6-man tag started off the show. Fantastic. I don't really have anything bad to say about it except for the fact that it's a 6-man tag. And for the fact that, once again, continuing on with the topic we're currently going down on, the established guys in SCU, guys that have been around for God knows how long, they took over New Japan, they were in Ring of Honor, they're doing their thing everywhere around the world, they've already got fans, they've already got a catchphrase, they have already beloved around the world, did not need to win that match. Why not give it to Jungle Boy and the Luchasaurus? I don't really care too much for Marco Stunt, but he's part of the whole thing. He's part of the package. It doesn't really look that bad, and I think there's something very special there, and that I need to see new teams being put on in the bigger stage. I want to see the Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy in this tournament for the Tag Team Championships, and I want to see them go far. They don't have to win it all, but I want to see them pushed further. I want to see them be put over. They are over like gangbusters with the crowd. And I think giving them the win as we're going into weekly television shows is going to show everybody that, hey, we got to keep our eyes on this team too. We can't just be worried about SCU all the time. There's the women's division. The buy-in kicked off with the Casino Battle Royal. And I'm not a fan of the 5 people at a time entrance. I think it takes away from the individuality of the competitors that are coming into this battle royal, and it makes it very easy to lose track of who's coming in, who's going out. I didn't know half of the girls that were in this thing. Some of them I were familiar with in due to the Mae Young Classic, and others everybody knows, like Bea Priestley, like Britt Baker, like Awesome Kong. And you had a nice amount of talent that you could have picked to be the woman to go into the first ever AEW Women's Championship match. And they gave it to Nyla Rose. Now, Nyla Rose is very impressive in the ring. She botched quite a few times tonight, but being in a battle royal is very difficult, and I'm not going to come down on anybody too hard in a battle royal because that is one of the hardest matches to ever be in anybody's life. But I don't understand the decision here. You got girls like Tenille Dashwood in the ring. You got girls like Priscilla Kelly in the ring. You have other girls that have a lot more notoriety. You got girls like Ivelisse in there that you could put in this match. But then you go and you see the other choices you're going to have, and you have the Rio and the other Japanese girl whose name eludes me, Shida, I think was her name, and Rio goes on and wins that match, and now we have Rio versus Nyla Rose, and I'm asking who gives a shit? Now I understand putting up the new talent, and me kind of coming down on this may seem to you like I'm contradicting my previous point. But I'm not saying they need an established star to win the championship. They need somebody to make you give a shit. And this match doesn't make me give a shit. If you would have at least put the likes of an Awesome Kong in there, even if you put Brandy Rhodes opposite Rio, everybody's going to assume that Brandy Rhodes is going to win because she's the head of the company's wife and this and that. And then you have Rio overcome, even though she's got Awesome Kong. But then even that, like having Rio as the first champion for AEW, I mean no disrespect, but it just doesn't pop. Doesn't feel special enough for me. And then if it's going to be Nyla Rose on the opposite end, you know, it just feels meh to me. And the whole women's casino battle royal was kind of a big mess. It was way better than anything you would see in the WWE women's division, that's for goddamn sure. But your winner there was Nyla Rose, which I don't really agree with. I actually would have went with Bea Priestley. I know you're starting this whole feud with Bea Priestley and Britt Baker, so there would be no better way to elevate that feud than by putting the title on the heel in that scenario. The crowd loves Britt Baker. Everybody wants her to be elevated to the next level, and then you have her current rival against her as a champion. So I thought that was the direction they were going to go, but that is not the way they go. We got to see Teal Piper. I thought that was fantastic. She didn't do much but poke somebody in the eye, and then she found herself on the outside. I thought that was a little unfortunate. She could have used a nicer showing in this showcase here. We saw ODB. Woo woo. I could have done without that. I don't need to relive TNA 2007. It wasn't the best of times in the women's division over there as well. And then Jazz, who walks out in this black gladiator's outfit looking like Bobby Lashley's little sister. And I don't know why that's what I thought. It's like, who is that? Is that Bobby Lashley? I don't know who the hell am I looking at. And then they said, oh, it's Jazz. Oh, okay. Sure. Why not? Anyway, this was, by the end, just a regular old battle royal, and Nyla Rose won, and she will face Ryu or Hikaru Shida later on tonight. Then we had Private Party. My buddies Mark Quinn and Isaiah Cassidy, House of Glory alumni, taking over AEW more and more each day, defeating Jack Evans and Jericho. This was a fantastic tag team matchup. These four guys are athletic as fuck, and it was unbelievable. Some of the stuff they were pulling off was really great. The story here is not so much that Private Party won, but the fact that Jack Evans and Angelico, who as of recently have been babyface guys and have been, you know, pandering to the crowd and trying to get over that way, attacked Private Party post-match, and they attacked him pretty damn good too, and it looks like Angelico and Jack Evans are now going to be on the heel side of the equation in the tag team division. And AEW's tag team division is absolutely stacked. You guys, WWE has no comparison. By the time this night is over, there would be another team added to this division that just put it on a whole nother level, and we'll get to that as we go through the rest of the card. And another great part, after the crowd in Chicago was having a great time for most of the night, and after they beat down Private Party, we had a nice chant of "Party Poopers" going on. Really made me pop at home. I thought that was pretty funny. They cut a promo for some guy, Wardlow. It was cheesy as hell, and I didn't give a shit about it. Didn't show much about him, except he was beating up a bunch of jerk-offs in the back of some parking lot somewhere. There was some broad standing next to him, and he looked into the camera, and that was it. We had an MJF promo, and he was telling everybody that he's not upset that he's not on the card tonight, because he chose not to be on the card tonight because he wants to be in support of one of his best friends in the world, Mr. Cody Rhodes, as he goes against Shawn Spears later on. The buy-in wrapped up, and we go to the all-out show. Let's go down the card before I rant my opinions on and on, and you guys, no doubt about it, are going to come down on me. I know some of you guys are going to hate this review, and that's fine, because I am who I fucking say I am, and I am the most honest guy in all of the wrestling community. I'm not sitting here sucking balls on this like some of the other guys, and I'm not sitting here telling you guys how everything is just so great, and it's all coming up smelling roses, because when I smell bullshit, I call bullshit. So let's keep going. SoCal Uncensored, Christopher Daniels, Scorpio Sky, and Frankie Kazarian defeated Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and Marco Stunt. I already kind of touched base on that. I didn't enjoy the fact that they lost, but I did enjoy this six-man tag. This is not anything like a six-man tag you would see on a Monday or a Tuesday or even on a WWE pay-per-view. This is what six-man tags should be like. It was exciting, it was fast-paced, there was a lot of drama, a lot of near falls, a couple of high spots, followed by SCU hitting the best Meltzer driver ever on Jungle Boy for the win. It was a little bit too short for my taste, but it was really, really fast-paced, and it was a great showcase for everybody involved, except for the fact that SCU wins. I have no problem with it. Kenny Omega gets to take on Pac tonight because Jon Moxley is injured and couldn't make it to the dance, so they replaced him with Pac, and there's no story behind this matchup. It was just an impromptu replacement booking, and I don't think two guys could have pulled it off any better. This might be one of my favorite Kenny Omega matches that I've ever seen. He wasn't just pulling off V-triggers every 5 seconds and going for the one-winged angel 100 times. This was an actual wrestling match. Pac was fucking fantastic. He makes his AEW debut, defeating Kenny Omega via KO with the Brutalizer submission. Looks like Kenny Omega passed out on his feet as he was just getting the life drained out of him by Pac, and Pac would make even bigger noise after the show as he would show up during the press conference and want to resume activities with Hangman Page, which is another reason why maybe Hangman Page should have won the strap tonight, because I think Hangman Page versus Pac is a much better matchup than Hangman Page versus Chris Jericho. We will get to that as well. I really enjoyed this match, as did most of you. A lot of high flying, another match full of high spots, and a lot of good, technically sound wrestling. It was one of the best matches I've seen for Kenny Omega. The finish saw Pac lock Kenny Omega in the Brutalizer crucifix submission until he passed out. The referee called the match. Pac wins, and he gets a shot at whoever wins the AEW championship, which at this moment is currently Chris Jericho, and that's a WWE match, right? So, am I crazy? Nah, probably, but let's get off that because we don't want to go there. The Cracker Barrel Clash 3-Way. You guys, I hate this stuff. This is a clown show. This is like going to the circus and waiting for the stunt routine to happen. Who the fuck jumps off a top turnbuckle with a Cracker Barrel on their back? Darby Allin does. You know how you know you're watching a Darby Allin match? The guy almost dies 3 times, minimum. Do you know how you're watching a Jimmy Havoc match? He's going to staple himself in the forehead. He's going to do things like paper cuts. Joey Janela, most of you guys probably love him. I see nothing special about him. You put on a match like this with nothing behind it, no reason, and somewhat play it off for comedy, while these guys are out there brutalizing each other with nothing at stake. Just hardcore for the sake of hardcore. And violence at this level. You're duct taping a man's mouth shut with thumbtacks in his mouth. Sadistic stuff. Usually reserved for matches and feuds that are deep in a rivalry. Is that not it? Do you remember seeing Mankind versus Triple H with the flaming barbed wire stick right from the get-go? Is that how they started off? No. It was a slow build. You accumulate to matches like this. This was hardcore for the sake of hardcore. If I'm the CEO of Cracker Barrel and we sponsored this match, I'm not going to be too happy about it. That's just me. I guarantee all of you guys are like, oh, this guy's crazy. You're going to unsubscribe from me because you think I'm losing my mind. Listen, it's my personal taste. I wasn't big on it when ECW used to do it, and I'm not a big fan of it now. It comes off more like backyard wrestling than professional wrestling, and that's not why I tune in. If I want to go to backyard wrestling, I'll go to some Long Island backyard and watch a bunch of teenagers hit each other with light tubes. That's not wrestling. That's ridiculous. There were a few wrestling moves strewn within this hardcore massacre, but even that just wasn't enough to really get me involved. When the match is making me want to look away more than intently invested in the match, watching the holds, watching the moves, watching the who's going to win, then I don't want to watch. I don't want to. Who fucking paper cuts people? It's fucking awful. I hate it. I hate everything about it. In the end, the finish saw Jimmy Havoc landing a Rainmaker through the barrel for the win. This was very, very violent. This was ultra sadistic, and I don't see any place for it. There's not even a hardcore championship. There was no reason for any of this to escalate to the level that it did. Except just to do it. That's not alright with me. It's not what I like to see in my pro wrestling. You like to watch people brutalize each other for real. You want these guys going in the back with scars and pieces of fucking wood in their back and staples in their heads. For what? For what? Stupid. Unnecessary. Would have definitely done without this matchup. I would have had Cracker Barrel sponsor the tag team matchup, which was only better because it was not a hardcore massacre, which is the only way I can describe it of the match. The Dark Order, Evil Uno, and Stu Grayson. Does Stu Grayson sound like the name of a guy that's in the Dark Order? Stu. Stu. Come, Stu. It's not an evil name. Evil Uno. Not a fan of this tag team. They come off to me as very WCW. When they come out, I feel like I'm watching late 90s, early 2000s WCW. And the Dark Order is coming to the ring. And they got a bunch of useless minions that don't look cool. And then they got this big fat guy and this other guy named Stu. And that's it. And that's it. I'm not a big fan of the Dark Order. Nor am I a fan of Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta. These guys are just two male Baileys. They're Maileys. The Maileys. That should have been the tag team name instead of the Best Friends. Best Friends. Everybody fucking loves it. These guys care about hugging more than anything. Baileys. Maileys. The winner of this match receives a bye in the first round of the AEW Tag Team Title Tournament. The Dark Order would win this matchup. It did get pretty interesting at times. There was a couple of very strange spots that I didn't care for, and the big story coming out of this was not even the fact that the Dark Order won and received that bye. It was the appearance of one Orange Cassidy. Oh, Orange Cassidy's here! Everybody freak out, man! I do not care for Orange Cassidy. Orange is a great flavor. I love orange creamsicles. You know, I like orange vanilla soda from Coca-Cola. That's a good flavor. I care for a nice orange once in a while. Orange Cassidy, on the other hand, whether he's freshly squeezed or peeled, I don't fucking need that. If you think it's okay for a guy to come out there, and I understand it's his gimmick, but it's a shit gimmick. How are you ever going to win if you don't want to throw a punch? And you kick like... I can't even figure it out because the guy would throw a kick and it looks like he's barely even doing anything. He doesn't have enough strength to even give you a thumbs up. This jackass comes out. The crowd pops because everybody loves this numbnut for some reason. And he does a suicide dive through the ropes with his hands in his pockets. And everybody's going, oh, did you see that? He did it with his hands in his pockets. That's reckless. That's stupid. What if you landed on your orange face, you moron? You can't brace yourself for impact. Putting all your trust in the other guys. And I don't trust anybody with my own personal safety. That's ridiculous. You have the strength to run from the ring and through the ropes, but you can't take your hands out to splash properly. You can't throw a punch properly. You kick like... I don't get it. I don't get it. Maybe I just haven't seen enough of it. If you're an Orange Cassidy fan and you haven't left this fucking video by now, explain it to me because I don't get it. And then the best friends hug Orange Cassidy, simultaneously squeezing him like fresh orange juice. Give me a break. Give me a break. I've said this about him before when he showed up in the All In, or whatever it was, the Double or Nothing Battle Royal. It's like, who the fuck is this guy? Why does anybody give a shit? First I thought it was Jason Salamonster, and I was like, oh my god, it's Salamonster. I love that guy. He's my buddy. No. If you like that shit, good for you. I don't. Rio defeated Hikaru Shida and will go on to face Nyla Rose for the AEW Women's Championship. I already told you what I think pretty much about that. That's a dead match for me at this point. Rio versus Nyla Rose doesn't really get my interest. I'm sure it might turn out to be a great match, and I hope that is the case so that they really put some prestige into the women's division right off the bat, not like the WWE does, but that might not be the case. Rio in this match was definitely overpowered by the bigger Shida, but she did overcome, and you know what? The one spot that I hate the most in all of professional wrestling happened in this matchup, and it's that fucking Alberto Del Rio, I'm going to hold myself in place while you stomp my chest to pieces move. I can't stand that move. I can't stand that move. That's part of the reason why I don't enjoy so much of the Lucha Brothers and the Young Bucks as well, because you have all these moves where these guys are just standing there in place waiting for this other guy to go through this whole fucking gymnastic sequence before he decides to kick him in the face when you could have very easily moved out of the way. I hate that shit. I hate it. I think it makes wrestling look as fake as it really is. And it's supposed to be an illusion. You're not supposed to know how fake it is. You're not helping. You're hurting. Rio wins and gets the shot at Nyla Rose. Let's just move on because I wasn't really interested in the match, and the crowd pretty much wasn't either. Cody with Brandy Rhodes, Diamond Dallas Page, MJF, and Pharaoh. Don't get me started on poor Pharaoh. What idiot thought it would be a great idea to have Pharaoh be part of this entrance? Did you not know the pyro was going off? Could you have not at least waited in the back? At least not be on the stage with the poor dog when the pyro is going off? I'm watching Cody Rhodes come out. He gets the whole big reveal from the little stringy light thing that they got. And then I'm seeing Brandy, and I'm seeing Dallas, and I'm seeing MJF, and I'm seeing the dog. And I'm seeing them in the tunnel. And I'm like, why are they waiting? What are they waiting for? Did they miss their cue? And then the pyro goes off. And if you're like me, you immediately focus your attention on the dog. Because I don't know any dog anywhere in the world that wants to be within 50 miles of a firework going off, let alone 50 feet. Who is the jackass that okayed that? I know it's their dog, and they can do what they want with their dog, but be smarter than that. There's not one dog in the world that likes the sound of fireworks, not one. How did you allow that to happen? The dog started freaking out. He wanted to run for the fucking hills. You see all the struggle in the back. You see Dallas and MJF trying to calm him down. And then you see the whole way during the entrance, the dog just wants out of there. The dog just wants out of there. How do your heart not break for that dog? Why didn't they set the pyro off when Hangman Page came out riding the fucking horse, huh? Because they knew better. Because they knew better. Why did they do it for the dog? I'm a dog person, obviously. That pissed me off right from the get-go. Right from the get-go. And I didn't really understand why he was dressed in Star Trek. I mean, I understand maybe he's a nerd like me. I enjoy me some Star Trek. But if I'm coming out on a pay-per-view, I'm not dressing up like Captain Picard. It's just me. I don't understand the reference. Maybe there was something on being the elite that I missed that I didn't hear. But I didn't get it any more than I understand the strange friendship between he and MJF. I don't get it any more than I get why they had the dog on the stage for the pyro. But at the end of the day, this match was fucking fantastic. This match was really good. Cody Rhodes made Shawn Spears look fantastic and vice versa. Once again, the theme of the night. My only problem, Shawn Spears, the new guy in town, the guy from the WWE who was never used by the WWE, the Rebel. Right? This is a guy from the WWE that you want to feature not because he was anything special there, but because they treated him as if he wasn't. So we're going to show the world what Shawn Spears really has. And he did a good job in showcasing that tonight. But if he would have got the win over Cody Rhodes here, even if it was due to the Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard forming together that I thought would have happened and should have happened to get over on the son of Dusty Rhodes for one reason or another, which we could play with down the line. I thought that would have been much more interesting, but instead we get Cody Rhodes coming and getting his revenge for the way Shawn Spears beat the shit out of him with the chair. And now what happens to Shawn Spears? He's already now 0-1 in AEW. Where does he go from there? Are they going to continue this? Or are they going to transition to the MJF Cody Rhodes story as soon as we hit television? It appears they're doing a slow burn. I automatically assume that the only reason why Cody Rhodes would pick MJF over a guy like Dallas with Tully Blanchard out there was because for some reason MJF was going to turn on Cody Rhodes before this night was over. But that is not what happened. He did tease it on multiple occasions. He was playing with the crowd and he did a couple of gestures to make you believe that he was going to attack Cody Rhodes when actually that didn't happen. Although I believe they're going the slow burn route. It will happen, but they didn't do it last night. Whether or not that's a mistake or not, I don't know. The mistake here was not giving Shawn Spears the win. His first major match, first big spotlight marquee match in AEW, and he's a loser because he had to go up against Cody Rhodes, the guy that owns the company, who shouldn't be getting wins over guys like Shawn Spears right off the bat. It just doesn't make sense to me. This was at least 20 minutes plus. This matchup went on and on and on until Tully Blanchard decided to get involved. Double A, Arn Anderson, made his way to the ring. The roof absolutely blew off of the place for Arn Anderson's involvement. He got into the ring. He got in the face of Tully Blanchard, and he's like, I don't care for this foolishness, Tully. And I'm sitting here going, you're Arn Anderson of the fucking Four Horsemen. You are the foolishness. What are you talking about? You invented this foolishness. All of a sudden you don't care for it? One of your best friends in the world, your tag team partner that you've held multiple titles with all over the world, is sitting there doing this and you're going against him because you don't care for foolishness? Come on. I didn't like that at all. But he got rid of Tully Blanchard. He got in the ring and squared off with Shawn Spears and delivered a hell of a spine buster. I think he put every ounce of energy he had left in his 70-year-old body into it. It looked absolutely solid, beautiful. The place was rocking, and then Tully Blanchard didn't know what to think. He was sitting there like, why'd you do that? And that's exactly what I was doing on my couch. My face matched Tully Blanchard's face because I'm like, come on, man. What happened to the Horsemen? What are you doing? Why are you doing this? Maybe they'll go with it. Maybe that'll be the story that they're going to tell. Maybe I'm being impatient and I'm not allowing things to happen, but it just didn't feel right to me. Cody Rhodes ended up winning this matchup, like I said, and we would go on to the AAA Tag Team Championship matchup. The Lucha Brothers, Phoenix and Pentagon defeating the Young Bucks in a match that was way too long, way too overbooked, and way too much. This match was a little bit too much. And I'm going to come right down and say it to you guys right now. The Lucha Brothers, in my opinion, are not as great as everybody makes them out to be. They are fantastic athletes, and I do not mean any disrespect, but if they want to spend half of the match posing, why don't you go and just, before the match, stand in the back, get all your posing out of the way. Get all your cero miedos out of the way. Get all your si se puedes out of the way. Get all your little chants out of the way. Get all your little hand things and your little fist face. Get it all out of your way. Get it all out of your system. And then go the fuck out there and wrestle. And don't stand there and start posing while you got the Young Bucks mid-move, get ready to do something, having to hesitate for just enough, and then end up getting hurt by going headfirst into the table the wrong way because they had to kill their momentum because you want to stand around and play with the crowd. Cero miedo. Come on, man. You gotta be better than that. I understand playing with the crowd a little bit. I understand doing it once. Doing it twice. Doing it 3-4 times, doing it twice to each guy, doing it multiple times during the match. Why? Just kick his ass. Just fight. What are we standing around posing for? And again, I'll go back to my point that I talked about earlier, is these guys are doing these very impressive, very athletic gymnastic maneuvers that make the other guy look like a complete idiot because they got to stand in place. They're clearly able. They're not standing there all, oh my God, I can't move, whatever. They're just standing there, holding hands with the Young Bucks while they're walking the tightrope, waiting, holding. Yank his fucking ass down. At least do it once. Keep wrestling real. Don't just stand there and be mesmerized with the crowd while Phoenix is going from the bottom to the top rope and jumping and bumping and then doing up and a flip like fucking Dumbo and then this and that. And you're just standing there like, hey, look, I'm flying a fucking kite over here. And then, oh, boom, a sack of bricks comes down and hits you right in the face. That makes it look stupid. There's a time and place for all of this shit. You didn't see this kind of stuff when the ladder matches in the tag team division were being brought to the next level, when guys like Edge and Christian and the Dudley Boys and the Hardys were doing it. We didn't have all of this weird, I need to go OD on everything. Every fucking spot in this match was a high spot. And when you have a match full of high spots, the match actually comes out having no high spots. We don't have a fucking highlight because everything was a highlight because of the extremities that these guys went to for a pair of tag team championships that don't even belong to AEW. So it didn't come off right to me. This was way overproduced. Way too much for me. And that doesn't, I'm not trying to bring you guys down, but I'm trying to educate you guys that this is not the smart way to go about doing things. I understand this is a business of sport. This is a business that needs athleticism. But does it need you to do it in a way to make people look stupid and to break the illusion of the business? Do you have to go through 15 fucking tables in one match? How many times are you going to do a Canadian Destroyer? You had Pentagon do that one Canadian Destroyer off the top fucking rope. He almost lost Matt Jackson in his hands. The guy went down in a very awkward manner, and it was all unnecessary. Sometimes these guys just take risks that are just too far. And like I said, with everything else, the problem with AEW over the last year and these pay-per-views is that there is no real stories backing up any of the matches going on. Everything is happening from one pay-per-view to the next with some internet stuff in between, and I'm not going to spend my time trying to fish for storylines of what's going on here and there. Once the show comes, maybe things will be a little bit smoother. Maybe we'll transition into pay-per-views differently. We'll have storylines. We'll have meaning. But I don't think there's any reason for any four men to go out there and kill themselves on the level that these guys did on this night. They could have scaled back 50% of that match, and it would have been a great match. I bring the truth. I don't just sit here and talk about how great everything is and how it was the best pay-per-view of the year, and WWE needs to watch out. That's not what we do here. It's not what we do here. This show is called Everything Wrong with All Out. It's not called Let's Lick Cody Rhodes' Balls Today. That's not what it's called. It's not what we do. And if you can't handle the truth, like the great Jack Nicholson once said, you know what to do. Cero miedos. The best part of this match came at the finish. After the match, two masked men in presidential masks. One, I believe, was Ronald Reagan. The other was President Bill Clinton. And they hit the ring and they attacked the Lucha Brothers after they retained the AAA Mexico Championships and revealed themselves to be the great LAX. You may be familiar with them thanks to their recent stint in Impact Wrestling. I'm familiar with them because these guys, much like Private Party, are my buddies. They are my friends, and they are people from the House of Glory. And the business in AEW has just picked up in the tag team division to a whole other level. You are looking at one of the premier tag teams in the whole entire world. I have seen them wrestle the Lucha Brothers before. I have seen them in the ring with some of the greatest tag teams to ever walk the earth. And they are going to knock the doors down, clear off the hinges in AEW. I now have a clear favorite other than the Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. I'm going for LAX the whole way to be the first ever AEW Tag Team Champions. And if they do that, the Tag Team division is going to start off with one hell of a pairing as their champions. They will be an excellent, excellent champion for the company to start this division off with, and they're going to be untouchable. These guys are just next level good. You think I speak highly about Private Party, which I do because they're next level as well, but these guys are even more so. I'm sorry, Mark Quinn. I've said that in the ring to the man before, and it ended up getting me kicked square in the face. But the facts are the facts. And I can't do anything but bring you guys the truth. And LAX from Impact Wrestling and House of Glory have now come to take over the tag team division in AEW. It's going to be awesome. They're fucking great. Get ready for something special. Then in the main event, Chris Jericho defeated Adam Hangman Page to become the first AEW World Champion. I'm watching this matchup and I'm thinking to myself, it's very, very unique. Because what we have here is a Looper situation. A lot of Looper vibe going on in this matchup. Because I'm looking at Hangman Page, and at least from the wide cam shot, and he looks like a young Chris Jericho. And I'm looking at Chris Jericho, and he looks like an older, wiser, more mature Hangman Page. And like, what if the world just destroys itself right now? Are we in some sort of a weird Back to the Future kind of space-time continuum where if these guys touch in the ring where the whole entire universe is going to implode on themselves? Are they actually mirror images of themselves? Because there were even times that I couldn't tell who was who just in a quick, brief glimpse. That's how much these guys somewhat mirror each other. And in their wrestling as well. Hangman Page impressed me a little bit tonight. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of the guy at all, so I'm not wanting him to be the champion because I'm such a mark for Hangman Page. I just think it would have been a better look for the company. And you could have put the championship on Jericho like I said, on October 2nd at the first show, and then go down the very same path you seem to be set forward on now. The only thing you're missing is having the first ever AEW champion be a full-blooded AEW guy, which I think would have been leaps and bounds better than what we had here. We had a whole lot of ground and pound action in this matchup. It was not as exciting as I thought. If I'm being completely honest, the NXT UK TakeOver Championship matchup blows this matchup completely out of the water. In fact, I'll go even one better on the very same card. If, adversely, Pac versus Kenny Omega was the match for the championship, man, I'd be singing a whole different tune right now. I'll tell you that much. That match was like the best match on this card. This match maybe didn't even make top 3. This was a very long, very boring affair. Chris Jericho bladed himself to the outside and started bleeding like a pig. Next thing you know, it's over. And Chris Jericho hits the Judas elbow, or whatever the fuck he calls it. And Hangman Page gets the pin. Why bother letting the guy come out with the fucking horse? Hangman Page's entrance, he's coming out riding a horse. It's a whole big dramatic entrance. You gave him all the pomp and circumstance, but you didn't give him the victory. And I don't understand why not. I don't understand why not. You could have given the belt to Jericho at any time. This is your show. That's your belt. And you didn't put it on one of your guys. Oh, Chris Jericho is an AEW guy. No, he's not just an AEW guy. It's important that you remember that. And when I look at the scenario, I see AEW putting a WWE guy up front and center. Which means to me they don't even have faith enough in themselves. They sold out All In without Chris Jericho, right? They were already making waves. They were already starting to become a company. I don't understand it. I think it was the wrong move. I think they could have done it better. I told you guys how. At the end of the day, Chris Jericho wins this championship. There are no special surprises. Nobody coming out to challenge him at the end of the night. We didn't have Pac come down for a stare down. We didn't have CM Punk show up. After the match, we had Tony Khan doing an interview with Cody Rhodes in the middle of the ring where he confirmed that All Out is going to be a yearly thing every year in Chicago. And the only thing wrong with that is now every fucking year when All Out comes around, all of the internet idiots are going to start talking about CM Punk. And All Out is always going to forever and ever be linked to CM Punk just because it's being in Chicago. And the man's not coming back to wrestling. If he didn't come back this year, he's not coming back. Get over it. Let AEW and All Out be something without CM Punk. I guarantee it. Every year, as soon as we get to this time of year, summer's going to hit. They're going to start talking about All In or All Out or whatever they're going to call it. All over. And everybody's going to, oh, CM Punk's going to come back. They're in Chicago. Oh, he's going to be at StarCast. They're in Chicago. CM Punk, CM Punk, CM Punk. Stop that shit. So, overall, this was a good show. I know it doesn't seem like it the way I'm coming down, but this was much better than anything that you've seen at SummerSlam. Tonight's show was way better than anything we're going to see at the upcoming Clash of Champions. AEW versus WWE, everybody's getting their panties all in a bunch and twisting balls. It's not really going to be that big of a thing. It's not. Not right off the bat anyway. And as of right now, you can't really say AEW versus WWE. I know NXT is a subsidiary of WWE, but it's AEW versus NXT. That's the war. That's the war that's about to take place. Doesn't matter that they're part of the WWE. NXT is not the WWE's main product. But that's the war that's happening. That's what's going to change the face of wrestling. This kind of stuff, as you can see, I always have very strong opinions. I always have a lot to say. I love professional wrestling with a great passion, and I want to see it done in ways that keeps it interesting, keeps it new, keeps it fresh, and you can't be new and different and fresh and mimic what the other guys are doing. And those are some of the biggest things wrong with last night's. I don't know how many times I referenced it as tonight, even though it's clearly last night. It's Sunday afternoon, and I want to finish this and get this up to you as soon as possible, as I promised. So let's call it a night on AEW All Out. Was it a good show? Yes. Is it worth seeing? Absolutely. Is it better than WWE shit? Yes. Can they be better? Absolutely. Lots of these matches and segments went way too long. The show ended. It was damn near midnight, and they have a lot of work to do. And while it clearly was not the worst wrestling show in the world, it can get a whole lot better. And I hope to see that be the case, because the better they get, the better the WWE will have to get, and it's going to be a hell of a year. And October's going to be here before you know it. It's already September 1st, man. So get ready. We got, 32 days till the war begins? I'm going to be ready, and I hope you're ready. Thank you guys for joining me for this AEW All Out review. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is the team, Thor the Sledgehammer, the official Sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, his tag team partner, the World Heavyweight Champion of all the microphones in all the world, Mr. Blue, the Snowball. The most important member of the team, as always, is each and every one of you. If you have not already become one of the official Sledgeheads of this channel and want to do so, all you have to do right now is hit that subscribe button. If you don't hate me too much for coming down so hard on AEW, I warned you guys right at the beginning, I am not like everybody else. You can think and you can call me and compare me to whoever the fuck you want. I guarantee you there is nobody else on YouTube or the internet shitting on this show the way I just did. And while I did enjoy the show as a wrestling show altogether, there was lots of great action and stuff, the winners and losers left a lot to be desired, and it doesn't look like it's headed in much different of a direction than the other guys. So don't forget to hit subscribe and make sure you are here to see everything we got coming in the future by hitting that notification bell, and be with us every single Monday and Tuesday night as we bring the hammer down on Monday Night Raw. The hammer will be coming down on the upcoming Clash of Champions just like it did on SummerSlam. You can go back and check out the SummerSlam review, the NXT TakeOver review. I'm just as bad on NXT when I have to be too. So like I said, the playing field is even and I favor nobody. I love pro wrestling first, just like I know you guys do. Don't forget to share this video with each and every one of your wrestling buddies all over the wrestling world. And if you enjoyed this show, if you laughed, if you cried, if you agreed with anything I said, if you disagreed with anything I said but enjoyed the way I told it, hit that thumbs up. If you do all those things, it really helps to generate traffic for this video and helps the channel in a million different ways, and I would appreciate if you would do all that. And then drop a comment down below. Let me know if you think I'm absolutely fucking psychotic. Let me know if you're going to leave and unsubscribe now because you're all butthurt about all the truth that I just dropped down on you. Let me know whatever you want. The comment section, as always, is yours. Make sure you are here with us all week long as we continue to bring the hammer down on the world of professional wrestling and entertainment. That, my friends, is going to do it, and we are out of here, and we will see you next time right here on your new favorite wrestling show, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, only on Sledgehammer TV, right here on YouTube.com. Don't hate me.
The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.